The Capitol was unusually quiet that night. The lights in the Senate chambers flickered like tired eyes refusing to close, and papers, thousands of them, covered every inch of Robert F. Kennedy's desk. It was nearly midnight, and most lawmakers had gone home. But Kennedy stayed, alone, sleeves rolled up, glasses sliding down his nose, his eyes scanning line after line of a 1,200-page bill that was supposed to rebuild the nation's infrastructure. Only, it didn't feel right. Something in his gut told him to keep reading. The words were dry and technical, the kind designed to make readers' minds wander. But Kennedy's mind didn't wander, it sharpened. Years of law, politics, and heartbreak had trained him to sense deceit, even when it was buried under legal jargon. And there it was, tucked between two harmless paragraphs about energy subsidies and state compliance measures. A single clause. A sentence so small it could be missed by a careless eye. Allocations exceeding $500 million may be diverted to private contractors without federal disclosure. Kennedy froze. His fingers clenched the page as the truth sank in. It wasn't an infrastructure bill, it was a heist. A quiet one. Billions of taxpayer dollars would vanish into the pockets of private companies that funded political campaigns. And not one news outlet, not one senator, had noticed. Or worse, maybe they had. He leaned back, staring at the ceiling. The silence around him felt heavy, almost accusing. This wasn't the first time he'd seen corruption dressed as progress. But this time, it was different. This bill wasn't just about money, it was about trust. About how much the American people believed in the system that claimed to serve them. Kennedy whispered to himself, "Not this time." The next morning, the Senate floor buzzed with anticipation. The bill was set to pass. Smiles flashed, cameras rolled, and speeches were polished. Senators congratulated each other, calling it a historic step forward. Kennedy sat quietly at his desk, a copy of the bill resting in front of him like evidence in a trial. When it was his turn to speak, he stood slowly. His voice, calm but firm, carried through the hall. "Mr. Speaker," he began, "before we vote on this bill, I'd like to draw your attention to a particular section." The room stilled. He could feel eyes turning toward him, some curious, others wary. He flipped to the page, cleared his throat, and began to read aloud the hidden clause. His voice didn't rise, it didn't need to. The words themselves were damning enough. When he finished, a wave of murmurs swept across the chamber. One senator shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Another looked down, suddenly fascinated by his pen. The cameras zoomed in. Reporters started typing furiously. Kennedy continued, his tone sharpening. "This clause," he said, tapping the page, "was buried deep within this bill, so deep it wasn't meant to be found. It allows $500 million, and possibly more, to